The Great Gatsby, like most classic English literature, and my grades, is a tragedy. This makes it like Shakespeare, but The Great Gatsby doesn't need to be rewritten in modern English to understand. The Great Gatsby, hereby known as Gatsby, not to get confused with the title character J. Gatsby, is a story that shows the obscenity of the American dream. So let's begin by introducing the characters. First up, let's introduce the main character, Nick Carraway.
Got him!
Were you expecting me to say J. Gatsby? Well, you are not wrong. To be exact, Nick is our narrator, and the story is told only from his point of view. He says he is non-judgmental and honest, but later in that same passage, he begins to call them veteran bores. He is only there to be a linchpin between Daisy and Gatsby that introduces them to each other again. Then we have Daisy Buchanan, who is a voice that's full of money, but her words are full of it. She is very shallow, and only cares about who has the bigger wallet. In Chapter 5, Daisy meets Gatsby again and her shallowness begins to seep through. I will now show a scene that will give a brief overview of their interaction.
Wow, what an ugly little house.
Oh yeah, it's not that palace of domestic abuse you live in. What's up?
Oh my God, is it really you?
Oh, I've missed you, Daisy. You're as beautiful as ever. You know what else is beautiful? My bank account. Boom! Rich guy.
You're rich now? Oh my God, I love that!
I know, right? Come on, I'll show you my place.
Muscles, ego, and everything mean. These were the ingredients chosen to create the average rich jock, but Professor Fitzgerald accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction. Misogyny. Thus, Tom Buchanan was born. Tom Buchanan was Daisy's husband, who is known for having a big build and a mean attitude. It is said in the book that he is one of those men who reach such an acute limited excellence at 21, that everything afterward savors of anticlimax. On top of that, not only was he domestically abusive to Daisy, but he openly cheated on her with Myrtle, a lady from the slums who is very envious of what the rich have as she lives in poverty. She is also married, but we won't talk about him as it goes into spoiler territory. The overall role they play in the story is simple, but the interpersonal relationships between them are complicated. Like most of the book, this seems to have been done with a certain end goal in mind, as the book is boring so long as J. Gatsby is not in the scene. But, lo and behold, as soon as he shows up, the book stops being boring. This is the author's way of showing that J. Gatsby is different from the other characters with a lack of motivation. J. Gatsby has a goal, that makes it a story. Let's move on. The characters in the story are okay, but how does this talk about society and the American dream, you ask? Well, J. Gatsby, although lacking some levels of a moral compass, had pure intentions of getting his girl. To get that emotional mess of a person that cries at the sight of expensive shirts, he needs to accomplish the American dream, to be rich. In order to achieve this, he does everything he can, legal or not, to do it. But even after he finally reaches his goal, Daisy leaves him for Tom's domestically abusive home. This was the author's way of showing that no matter how close you think you are to succeeding, there will always be a difference between the higher and lower class who thinks that they are high class. That's it for my tangent. Here is a sample of my new single on Gatsby.
The obscenity of the American dream, it's clearly portrayed in the lines of the scenes. It needs an induction, or so it would seem. So let's talk about J. Gatsby. He's very healthy, he's very wealthy, his goal is lofty. His love is Daisy, the day she looks towards the Gracie he wants his lady. Let's get to know Daisy the witch. Daisy the rich knows she's a bit. She married Tom cause he was rich. Gatsby had money and now she is a switch. Her voice is full of money, her words are full of it. Don't mess with her hubby, or she will throw a fit. Tom Buchanan the player, with a look that could kill. With muscles so layered, he could play for the Bills. Buchanan is rough, Buchanan is tough, when it comes to ladies, he has enough. If you try to expose him, you'll get a snuff. Next is my man Nick, where you get what you see. He is always honest, but lacking in glee. His friend is Gatsby, his cousin is Daisy. Ask him a favor, he will likely agree.